Welcome back to our SAP training program. Today we will be starting our next topic, procurement of consumable materials. So last time in the previous topic, we have seen how we can handle the stock materials in our SAP system. So today we'll talk about consumable materials and their stock and everything. And also we'll see what is the difference between consumable and stock material. Okay, so the topics that we'll be covering today within the consumable materials are: what is the difference between the procurement of consumable and stock materials, account assignment category, purchase requisitions, single and multiple account assignment, request a material without material master record, create purchase order without with respect to purchase requisition, what is a purchase order acknowledgement, valuated and non-valuated good receipt, item category in a purchasing document, and blanket purchase order, and also the enter the invoice for a blanket purchase order. So these are the topics we'll be covering today. So let us start first with what is consumable materials. Okay, so let me give you a business example, the real-time example. So say in your company, certain materials are directly procured for cost center. Okay, these materials are not subject to inventory management at the storage location. Okay, so like you're working in a company and they're purchasing some non-stock materials. For example, non-stock materials can be stationery, maybe computers, or maybe cup, plates, can be anything. Okay, pencil, pen, these type of stuff. And as a member of the project team, you are going to check the procurement process of consumable materials in SAP. So how do we handle these consumable materials procurement process in SAP? So consumable materials. So let's see more details about consumable materials. So consumable materials are materials that are procured directly for an account assignment object. Okay, so I'll discuss about account assignment object in a minute again. For example, the example of the consumable materials can be a computer system, a stationery like pen and pencil and all that stuff. Okay, for which we don't need to maintain the stock. Okay, like in the previous topic we have seen, like we have raw materials, we have finished goods, we have semi-finished good, we have trading goods material. Okay, so those type of materials we do need to maintain the stock. Okay, and the procurement cycle for them is different, which we have seen in the previous topic. Okay, but for these things like pencil, pen and stationery stuff, we don't need to worry about maintaining the stock. Okay, so the procurement process is little different than the other one. Again, about consumable materials, so they are not managed on the value basis in inventory management, because we do not maintain the value, how much value we have in the stock in the inventory management. For example, if we have a stock material like finished good or raw material, we do need to maintain for the finance perspective that what is the value of the stock that we have. But in the case of pen and pencil, because their value is too low, that we don't need to maintain the value for that one. They can be procured without a material master record. Okay, so I'll show you again in a minute in SAP that how it's not mandatory for us to procure a consumable material with a material master record. That means we can make a procurement without maintaining any material master record. Okay, so that I'll show in a minute. So they can be procured without any material master record. Material type UNBW and NLAG and like is used for creating the material master record. So again, as I said, they can be maintained as material master record, or maybe you can purchase them without creating any material master record. Okay, but if you need to maintain the material master record, then you should be using these material types, NLAG and UNBW. Okay, so if you remember that in the previous topic where I've shown you in the master topic how to create the material masters. Okay, so here MM01 transaction. So whenever you create a material master, you need to select a material type. Okay, material type. So this is what this slide is saying, that you should be using either UNBW, which is for non-valuated materials, or NLAG, non-stock material. Okay, as the name is saying that for NLAG you cannot maintain any stock, and for UNBW you do not maintain the value. Okay, if you want to maintain the material master record. So here, if you want to maintain the, say, NLAG, what do you need to do? You need to select here NLAG. See, that's NLAG. So you'll be selecting NLAG to create that material master record. Okay. Even if you want to search for the existing material master record, you can go to MM02, and here you can click on the search button, and you want to search for material type. Here you can filter for material type. If you do not see this material type screen here, you need to make sure that you click on the corner here, in this corner, and there are so many options to search by. Okay, and make sure you select this one, material by material type. Select that. In the drop down, click on the drop down here and select NLAG and search for everything. So it will show you all the NLAG materials that we have in the system. So these are the materials that are already in the system. Okay, I can pick any material and open that. There it is. That's a material, that's a description, and all the details about the material master. Okay, so that's all about consumable materials. Now we'll discuss about account assignment category. What is account assignment category? Okay, so account assignment category is something, if you want to procure a material such as consumable, you must and always specify the account assignment category. Okay, so whenever you want to create a purchase order for a consumable material, you need to, it is mandatory to provide an account assignment category. Account assignment category determines the account assignment object category that is to be charged. Okay, which account assignment data you must provide and which account are debited when the goods received or invoice is posted. Okay, so let me show you this one in practical. Okay, so what that means is, okay, let's see the next slide first, then I'll show you. So what this slide is saying is, whenever you create a purchase order for a consumable material, it's mandatory to select a account assignment category. So account assignment category will further provide the financial information, okay, to which accounts, to which financial or general ledger account it will be posting. Okay, so account assignment category, we have different types of account assignment category, like asset account, cost center, project order, sales order, like that. So for example, if I go here and if I go to / and ME21 and transaction, which we've seen before, to create a purchase order, so press enter. So whenever you create a purchase order, okay, so let's say vendor is, we'll use the old vendor, and use your purchasing organization, enter. And here, if I enter, say, this material, okay, this is an NLAG. If I search for NLAG material again, let me pick NLAG material. Say this one, okay, shafting assembly. If I select this one, okay, quantity is, say, 1, enter. It's asking me, it's putting the cursor on the plant here, so it's asking to enter the plant. I will enter the plant, 1000. And there's another message at the bottom, you can see there's another message at the bottom, account assignment mandatory. Okay, that means here we need to select what account assignment. See this field, account assignment. So that's what the error is saying, that account assignment mandatory for material this. Okay, that means we need to select an account assignment. Okay, so here if I select this one, the search button, you can see you have different types of account assignment category. Okay, you have different types of account assignment here. Okay, Likely, most of the time the account assignment category used is cost center, K. Okay, there are some others as well you can use, but depending on what you select here, system will propose you different screen to select the data. For example, if I select K here, okay, which I said used most of the time in most industries, if I select K cost center, okay, press enter. Now it's showing me the error that enter the price, net price is greater than 0. I'll enter some price here, say $11. Now it's going to a different screen here, different tab, which is account assignment. So here it's asking me to enter a general ledger account and cost center and everything, okay, which is a financial information, so that system understands where I need to do the posting, okay, for when we do the invoice and everything or the good receipt. So here we need to, in our system, just use this general ledger account and this cost center, okay, 400,000 as the general ledger account and cost center is this one, okay, because all these settings are done for this general ledger account and cost center, which is a setting from the finance side of SAP. And if I press enter, you can see there's a warning message at the bottom. Press enter again to ignore it. Okay, so this is what I said, that depending on what you select here, you need to select, it will show you a screen here to select something. For example, I selected K here. Here I'm looking at, it's showing you the K here. If I say select something else, say if I select asset, you say asset, okay, the screen will change. See, the screen is different. It's asking me to enter asset number. Okay, so depending on what you select here, it will show you a different screen. I'll come back to the old screen again. Okay, so depending on what you select here, the screen, the fields required will be changed. Okay, we also have another one, unknown. If I select unknown, you don't need to enter anything. See, the screen is gone because this is you. This is unknown. Okay, so that account assignment category tab is disappeared. See, there is no tab for account assignment category. If I change it again, U to K, and press enter, see, we are back on the old screen. Okay, we are back on the old screen. So now you understand what is account assignment category. So for all the consumable materials, okay, for all the consumable materials, it is mandatory to enter account assignment category. Okay, now you understand why we need to enter the category, for the financial reason that system need to understand where should I be posting all the financial transaction, to which general ledger account, cost center, profit center, and all that. Okay, so this is only valid, as I said, this is only valid for consumable materials. Okay, so you can see these are the different types of account assignment category. Procurement for consumption. Okay, now in previous chapter we have seen this one. So in the previous topic, we have basically talked about the stock material, right? Stock material. So in stock material, what happens is system didn't ask us to enter the account assignment category. Why? Because for the stock materials, we mentioned that in the material master record. Okay, if you remember, I did mention that if I open any material master record, so this is a trading good. This is a trading good. Okay, so if you go to accounting one tab, and here you can see a valuation class. Okay, valuation class. So because for all the stock materials, we always enter a valuation class. So this valuation class will help the system to find for this material what is a relevant posting account. Okay, because of this one, and this is only given to the finished good, trading goods, and all that. That is stock material. Okay, so let me draw down here. So that means for all the stock materials, okay, what we do is we give it a valuation class. Valuation class. Okay. And because of this valuation class will further find out what is a general ledger posting account. So that is why whenever you create a purchase order for a stock material like your finished goods, raw materials, okay, and trading goods, etc. So you mention the valuation class and you do not need to mention that account assignment category in the purchase order, okay, in the case of stock material only. But if you look at the consumable materials, okay, they do not have any, there is no valuation class. If I show you one material which we just used, WL, I think WL, or I can search it again. So here you can see non-stock material, okay, and lag on the top you can see here, okay. Now if I go to the accounting data here, okay, so maybe I'm wrong, just give me a second, let me double check something. This is wrong here. This is wrong here. It is assigned valuation class, but again it will not work because this is a n-lag material, consumable material. Okay, so if let me take another example. Someone must have changed the original configuration, but usually you cannot assign the valuation class. In the standard system, you cannot assign the valuation class. So just assume this is blank and there is nothing in the search object, okay, in the standard system. So someone might have changed the customizing and you're able to select something here, but in reality this will not work. Okay, this will not work. Okay, I can experiment again with a different material. Say if I go to MM02 again, the different material, say UNBW material type. Even they do not have that view. Sometimes, yeah, see, for this one there is no view for the accounting tab and costing tab here, okay, which we can see for the other materials. Okay, so that this is what I'm saying, you cannot maintain those data for them, okay, that valuation class data and everything. Okay, so that is why in the case of stock material, it will find automatically from the material master record. But in the case of other one, consumable material, okay, as it is not maintained in the material master, maybe with material master record, without material master record, I'll come back to this one in a minute. So you need to manually enter, the data for account assignment code. Okay, so that's how it works for stock material and consumable materials. Okay, now another thing I will show you here is, as I said before earlier in the previous slide, that here they can be procured without material master record. Okay, that means if you do not have the material master record for your consumable material, you can still create a purchase order for them. I'll show you how. Okay, so if you want, if I go to ME21N to create a purchase order, and here if I enter the vendor, okay, purchase organization and all the data, and here what you do is, if you have the material master, you can enter the material number here, or you can search for that material code from here. Okay, but suppose we do not have the material master, okay, and we need to buy, say, pen or pencil, something like that. Okay, so I can say, okay, office goods, for example. Okay, so I just need to enter the description, whatever description you want to enter here. Just write the description, enter the quantity, say 100 pieces I want to buy office. I'll just call it, give it a proper name, say pen. Okay, so description can be anything, and you can enter the quantity. Now just see what it's asking. At the bottom you can see the message, please enter the material number or account assignment group. Because we didn't enter the material number, we need to give it a account assignment group category. So open the account assignment category, give it a account assignment category K, cost center. Okay, press enter. Now it is happy. It's asking, see, enter a plant at the bottom. I can enter a plant again, 1000. And now there's another error message at the bottom. Net price should be greater than 0. Enter a price, say $1 or something. And it's saying enter order unit. Okay, so here you need to enter the unit. Okay, so species, you can search from here if you want. We have so many units available. There are so many units here available. Or you can select each or pieces, whatever is relevant for you. See pieces, select that, or you can manually type here PC. Press enter again. Now it's giving me error message, enter material group. Because we didn't enter any proper material master record, so we need to enter a lot of data. That's why it's asking. So material group, I can enter a material group from here. Just pick something from here, anything miscellaneous. Enter. Now it's coming back to the account assignment screen here at the bottom. Okay, so account assignment, and here, as I said, use this one 400,000, and here enter 40,000, enter. Okay, so there's a warning message for delivery date, just press enter. So done. Now I can save my order. So and you can, if you want to open the order again, so order number at the bottom is 45,175.80. If I click on the search here, it will remember the last number. Open that. So that's your order for a text item. Okay, this is what we call it, text item, for which we do not have any material master record. And the following process will be same as we have seen before. You create a purchase order, then you do the goods received, MyGo, and then the invoice receipt. Now we'll do some comparison between the stock material and consumption material. Okay, now you understand how the consumption material work from the purchasing side of SAP. So on the left hand side you have stock, on the right hand side you have consumption material. Okay, so stock material, entry of material number is required. We need to maintain the material master record. But for the other one, entry of material number not required, but it's possible. That means what we can do is we can maintain the material master as well. But if we don't have material master, we still can do the purchasing by the text, by typing a text here. But here you need to enter the material number. Okay, and here no account assignment category, because this is found automatically from the material master record. However, on the case of consumption material, you do need to enter account assignment category. This is mandatory. Here, posting to stock account, posting to consumption account. Okay, so from finance side of SAP, you have different types of account. So we have different types of account for stock account, where the stock material will be posted, and we have different types of account for consumption material. Okay, in this case, quantity, value, and consumption updated in the material master record. Okay, here what is the quantity we have in the warehouse, what is the value and everything, but here value is not updated. Quantity and consumption can be maintained. Okay, that means if you maintain, I'll come back to this point in a minute, and here you can see moving average price is adjusted. There is no price adjustment for material master because usually we don't maintain the material master. Okay, now here, as I said, value is not updated. Okay, because as I said before, why value is not updated? Because the value is so low that we don't bother to maintain them. So maybe the pen cost be maybe 50 cents, $1, pencil cost can be 30 cents or something. So we do not bother to maintain the value. However, quantity consumption can be maintained. If you want to maintain the quantity and consumption, then what you need to do is you need to maintain them as either this one or that one. Okay, so if you maintain is as this one, that means which is saying as this NLAG material master record, that means non-stock. That means stock, we're not maintaining the stock, however the values can be updated. Okay, when you use this one, that means no stock, no value. This one, no stock, but yes, for valuation, sorry, for this one you can maintain value as well, and for this one you can maintain no value, and for this one you can maintain no stock. Okay, this is automatically done from the customizing, which we'll see in the next topic, that how this material type can control that if the stock can be maintained or if the valuation can be maintained or not. Okay, so we'll see them detailing again in the customizing topic later on. So that's the comparison between the stock material and consumption material. Now we're starting the next topic, which is purchase requisition. Okay, what is a purchase requisition? Okay, so purchase requisition is nothing. If you want to see the definition of purchase requisition, then it will say purchase requisition are internal document for asking your purchasing department to procure a material quantity for a material or service. That means if I'm working in the as a purchasing officer in a company, okay, and someone in the plant, say maybe the production supervisor or the quality supervisor or someone, need to procure something. So what they will do, they will not directly create a purchase order. They will first create a purchase requisition, like a request for a purchase. Okay, then it will come to me as a purchasing officer, and I will then decide them that whether we need to make a procurement or not. And if I say yes, then I will find a right vendor for that, and then I will convert that to purchase order, and then the purchase order will be sent to the vendor for the procurement. Okay, so basically all the plant people, everyone will be creating a request that we need to procure this service or this material. Okay, so this is known as purchase requisition, just a request. A purchase requisition can be created directly or indirectly. So directly means that a purchase requisition is created manually by a user. As I just said, that it can be created manually by someone in the plant, that okay, we need to fix the tube lights, we need to fix a fan, okay, we need to call the electrician, we need to call a plumber. It can be service, or we need to buy some nut and bolts, okay, we need to buy some spare parts. That in that case, someone will be creating a request manually, which is called directly. And the other one is indirectly, or you can say automatically. Okay, so in this, indirectly or automatically means purchase requisition is created automatically by SAP via MRP, maintenance order, production order. That means there's a functionality in SAP called MRP, which we'll talk again in the next topics. That MRP can generate automatic purchase requisition, okay, depending on the requirements. That means, for example, if there is a sales order to buy something and we purchasing that thing from the outside, or we're trading them, then depending on the quantity of the sales order that is received by the sales department, MRP can create an automatic purchase requisition. Okay, so we'll discuss more about this one in MRP later on. So that's your purchase requisition. So as I just said, this is a purchase requisition, and purchase requisition can be created from, as I said, manually or from MRP. Okay, and purchase requisition structure is pretty much like a purchase order. Okay, like purchase order, in purchase order what we do is we enter a vendor number, we enter a material number, and we'll pull all the data. Same thing here. In the purchase requisition, we can enter a material number, we can enter a vendor number, and it can pull the data from where? Material master data. Okay, from the material master record, from the vendor master record. So if we have seen the steps before, that first we create in the normal scenario, what we do is we create a purchase order, then we create a good receipt, and then we create a invoice for that. Okay, here we'll be adding one more step here, which is called purchase requisition. That means first the requisition will be created, and from the requisition all the next 3 steps will be done. Okay, so we'll see here how we can create a requisition. Okay, so the transaction code for creating a purchase requisition is to create a purchase requisition, code is ME51N. To change, code is ME52N, and if you just want to display, code is ME53N. Okay, so here you can also see that in the menu path here, if I go to the main screen, you can directly enter the transaction here, or you can go to logistics, you can go to material management, purchasing, purchase requisition, ME51 to create, change, display. Okay, so double click on that ME51N. So what we're doing is we're going to create a request. Okay, we're going to create a request. Again, the structure will be similar to like a purchase order. So you can see header, item overview, item details. Open the header and item overview. Okay, so in the item overview, you can enter any material, or you can also enter a text in the case of consumable. So what I will do, I will be creating a one for material, one for text. Okay, a request. Okay, so here I can enter material. I know one old material which is HT1010. I can enter that one, and it's asking me for plant. 1000 is the plant. Press enter. There is another error at the bottom. See the error. Enter the quantity. I will enter the quantity. Say 10 pieces. Okay, so that's very quick, because when you have the material master record, it's very quick. Okay, this is a stock material. This is a stock material. We just enter the material number. It pull up all the data from the material master record, and then we enter the quantity and which plant. That's it. Okay, second item I will be entering as a consumable. Okay, so if I enter here, just as text, say we need to buy a say spare part 1, or you can give it a say any code, KT000, any code number, quantity is 1. Okay, press enter. It will keep asking you the different required fields. It's asking what which plant, enter the plant 1000. Then there is saying enter material number or account assignment category. So here we need to enter account assignment category, and again we'll say K, cost center, press enter, and now it's jumping automatically to, when I press enter, jumping to the account assignment data. So here I can enter cost center and general ledger account, press enter, enter a purchasing group. There's error message here, so we need to enter a group here as well. Chill group, so say miscellaneous, enter, purchasing, oh sorry, this one, that was a material group, it's asking for purchasing group. So pick any purchasing group for now, enter unit of measure, I'll say pieces, just type PC, enter the valuation price, what is the value, I can say okay 20 euro or dollar, whatever, enter, and now there is no error, there's a warning, but just ignore the warning, and this is ready. Okay, so your purchase requisition is ready. So you can see that the structure of the purchase requisition is pretty much similar. If you look at this screen, it has the similar sort of button like create button, change button, other button, header data, item overview, item detail. Okay, so same thing you can see here. See, there's a header, I can open the header. There's a header data, there's nothing much here. I can click on this little button to close it. Then this is the item data, and at the bottom you have item detail. So we have two items. You can select what item detail you want to see, 1 or 2, 1, okay, 10 or 20, basically 10 or 20. Okay, and you can click on this little button to create it. You can click this little button to search for another document. Okay, and what I'll do, I will save this purchase requisition. Okay, click on the save button. Also you can click on the document overview here, and you can, like we used to search for different documents, you can search for different documents by clicking on this button here. See, you can search for this one. Okay, so we'll use this functionality again in the purchase order in a minute. Click on off and save it. So at the bottom it's generating a number for you. Note down that number. I can click on that message at the bottom and I can copy that number. So that is my number, my purchase requisition. This is the purchase requisition I just created. So that's how you can create a purchase requisition, just a request. Okay. Now with regards to the account assignment category, okay, it has some more functionality. I'll show you here. When we talk about the account assignment category, which we just used, let me call that purchase requisition. Click on that. That's a number. I'll paste a number here. Open that document. Okay, for second item, because second item is a consumable item, and here you can see account assignment. I need to click on the change mode. I'm on the display mode. Click on the little button to go to change mode. Okay, I'm in the change mode. Go to the account assignment tab, and here as you know, you can enter the account assignment data. Like I can select K, cost center. Oops, sorry, I picked the wrong one. Let me go back and come back in again. ME52N. Okay, select the second item and go to account assignment. Okay, that's good. Okay. Now in the account assignment, you have the option to enter for a line item. You can enter only one account assignment detail, or you can enter more than one. Okay, that means that, for example, if I'm ordering a consumable product like chair. Okay, I'm ordering for chair, 90 pieces of chair. Okay, so maybe 30 pieces going to one different department, 30 maybe for another department. So and those departments belonging to different cost center. From the finance side of SAP, we need to see that where should be the system should be posting the financial data. Okay, so 90 pieces may be divided into 3 or 4 departments, and we want to divide those 90 pieces to 3 different types of cost center. Okay, because they will be used in a different department. So in that case, what you can do is the standard screen will show you always one account assignment. That means whatever quantity, say if I change the quantity here, I say 90. Okay, that means all the 90 pieces here, they are going to be linked to this cost center. Okay, but when you talk about multiple account assignment category, okay, so to do that, you can click on this little button here on the corner. It will show you a different screen. See that? Okay, that means here I can enter different account assignment category. Okay, so I can say I can remove this one, I can select this one, I can delete, and I can start all over again. Okay, so say in the previous screen, there's nothing here, just remove everything, and you can click on multiple account assignment screen, and you will see here, and that means some quantity, this quantity will be going to this cost center, this quantity will be going to that cost center. For example, out of 90, I can say 30 will be going to cost center 400,000, another 40 will be going to, or another 60 will be going to 41,000. Okay, so, and what is the general ledger account? Maybe. Okay, this you can see there's some cost center error. That means there's some financial setup is not right. Okay, but let me show you the example here. Now, so you can see here I can divide the 90 quantity into different cost center. Okay, and again you have different options here. For example, you can say I want to divide by percentage or I want to divide by quantity. If I select quantity, if I say quantity, that means I can divide the quantity. I can manually say, okay, 30 pieces here and 60 pieces here. That will make total 90. Okay, so when you select 30 and 60, you can divide into more than 2 as well, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever you like. Okay, when you say 30 here, 60 here, system will automatically show you the percentage. That means 33.3% here, and 60 for 60, 66.7% here. Okay, if I change it, say 20 here and say 70 here, you can note that percentage will change when I press enter now. See, percentage change, 22 here, 77 here. So that's one option, that you can divide them via quantity. The second option is you can divide by percentage. If I select percentage, you can note that this is now grayed out, and this is now in the edit mode. I can say manually that 30 pieces here and 30% here and 70% here. Okay, so you can say this is saying 27 here, 63 here. Okay, 30% here, 70% here. Okay, so either you can divide it by quantity or divide it by percentage. Depending on what you select from both of them, it will grade out one of them and change the other one to edit mode. Okay, right now the percentage one is active, so percentage is edit, other one is grayed out. Or I can select quantity, it will reverse it. You can say this is now active and this is now grayed out. Okay, so, or if you don't want to see this screen, if you don't want to assign, you can select that and click on delete button. Or you can click on this little button on the corner to go back to the single account assignment. Okay, so clicking on this button, you can swap between the single account assignment and the multiple. I can click on this one again, you on the standard screen. I can click on this one again, go to the other screen. Okay, so you can play with that. So that's account assignment, multiple account assignment. Another thing I want to show you here in the multiple account assignment here is, let me enter some quantity here, say 30, 60. Okay, this second one. Okay, invoice. How the invoice should behave. Posting of an invoice. Okay, you have two options here: distribute in sequence or distribute proportionally. Okay, so what does it mean? That means if I put the cursor on this field and press F1, I'm pressing F1 on my PC, it will give me the detail of that field. Okay, so what it's saying that if I scroll down, you can read all that later on, that what will happen is, you know, the proportional. Okay, so if you look at this, say you have this data, say you have 100 pieces in total, you have divided into three different cost center, 50, 40, 100. Okay, total is 100. Sorry, 50, 40 and 10, total is 100. Now when you select the proportional here, proportional, okay, when you select the proportional here, what system will do, when system will post the invoices, okay, say you have, let me write down here in more detail what this one is saying is, okay, you had you had a purchase order of total 100 pieces, and it was divided into three different cost center, 50, 40, 10. So 50, 40 and 10 will make total 100. Now the invoice that you received is, say, for 70 pieces only. We have total 100 pieces, for the purchase order. The purchase order is saying total 100 pieces. Okay, however, the invoice we received is only for 30. Okay, maybe they have delivered only, not 30, just say 70. So they have delivered only 70 pieces. Okay, so how the system will behave? So when you have three different cost center, so because we didn't receive the 100 pieces invoice, only 70. So how system should behave for posting for 50, 40 and 10 for three different ones? Okay, so that means if you select the proportional, here, the second one, in that case, what system will do? System will divide the price proportionally into all three of them. Okay, total will be $700, whatever. Okay, so it will divide proportionally. Okay, so it was 50, it will get 50% of whatever the invoice quantity and amount is. Okay, this will get the relevant person, this will get the relevant person. So 700 will be divided into all three proportionally. Okay, when you select the proportional, as the name is saying. When you select the sequence, as the name is saying sequence, so sequence means it will go via sequence. That means it will fill up the first one first, second one second, and third one third, like that, and so on. Okay, so if you receive the 770 pieces or 700, so 70 pieces will be covered. So out of 70, 50 will be covered here, which is 500, and 20 will be covered here, which is 200. That means system will go in sequence. So first one first will be covered, second one second will be covered. Okay, so next time when you will receive the another 30 pieces invoice of 300 euro, so that will be divided into 200 here again, and rest here, 10 here, 100 here. Okay, so it will go by sequence. So whatever the first one is, that will be filled first. Then if something is left, it will be given to the second one. Okay, in the case of sequence. Okay, so proportional is proportionally. So it will be divided into, oops, sorry. It will be divided into proportional in the case of proportional. Okay, and at the end of the day, you will have 70 pieces invoice for 700 euro, and same is the case here. But only how they will be divided, that you can decide here. Okay. So that's only again the case of consumable products. If it's a stock material, you don't need to worry about. Okay, so that's your single or multiple account assignment category. Now we'll talk about feature of purchase requisition. Okay. So that means, as I was showing you before, that you also have an account assignment category U. Okay. U means unknown. Whenever you select a category here called U, if I change it K to U, U means unknown. We don't know the account assignment category. If I select U, so we don't need to enter any data for account specific. You can see everything will disappear, all the account assignment data, and system will not ask me anything extra. See, the account assignment tab is gone. So there is nothing else system is asking me. Okay. And if you use, as you know that in the case of consumable material, right, you can enter either a material with material master record, right, or you can enter a text material which doesn't have, without master record, it doesn't have any record, material master record. Okay, so let's talk about when you enter a material with which does have a record. Okay, so in that case what will happen is system will read the price for that material from the material master record. Okay, in the second case, for example, in the same purchase order here, if I enter a third item, okay, so say third item is, say there was another material which was a WL, I think, or I can search for that material. For N lakh, that one WL 1000. Okay, for this material, say quantity is 1, plant is 1000, and account assignment mandatory, but that's it. If I go to the valuation, you can see it's picking up the price. So where this price is coming from? Okay, let's have a look. If I open this material, so it is saying 100 euro. If I open this material, WL 1000, saying there is no storage location, so I can remove the storage location and start again. There is no sales organization maintained, remove that, enter. You can see that here. So in the case of consumable material, the price is proposed from here, from the material master. Okay, so there is 100 price, 100 price is proposed here. Okay, however, if I'm entering a text item, okay, which doesn't have a record, material master record, and also this is a K item. Okay, so plant is 1000. Now don't worry about others. If I go to the valuation, you can see there's no price here because system doesn't know what is the price. So here in this case I need to enter the price manually. Okay, I'll say 150, whatever the price is. So this is what this slide is showing you, that in the case of unknown item, U item, you don't need to enter any data, don't worry about it. Okay, so even if I show you this one here again, if I change K to U, okay, so you still need to enter the valuation price, but you don't need to worry about the all other data like account assignment. That will be done later on in the purchase order. Okay. So in the case of you don't need to enter the account assignment data, but the price you do need to enter, yes. In the case of any product with material master record, system will copy from the material master record. Okay, so in the case of you have the material maintained in the system M10 as a material master record, so system will read the MM record. Okay, and if it is a K item, which is you enter the text item, so in that case system doesn't know the price, so you need to manually enter the price in the system. Okay, that's how it works. Then next we have is status of a requisition. Whenever you open a requisition, let me delete that. You can select any line and you can click on this delete button if you want to delete it. Yes. Or delete the other line as well. Okay, there's no error here, and let me save it. I'll copy the number and I will save it. Okay, so that's the purchase requisition here. In any purchase requisition, you can go to the status tab. You can go to the status tab and you can see what is the status. Like status here is processing status is not edited. Okay, that means if this is or it is active, still active. Okay, that means if this is converted to a purchase order, which I'm going to show in a minute, it will be saying PO created. Okay, or whatever the next step happened, it will show you that step here. So at the moment nothing happened, so it's saying not edited, nothing happened. Okay, but when something will happen, like purchase order is created or a contract can be created as well, scheduling agreement can be created as well from a purchase requisition. We'll talk about these later on. It will show you that in the status. Okay, and if you go to the next step, which is contact person, here you can see who created. It's showing me my name. Okay, it's created manually. It's showing you who created. It's created manually by me. Okay, so it will show you created by MRP or production order, created by whom. So if it's a manual case, it will show you manual, who created that, and on what date it was created. Okay, so you can see all the details in a purchase requisition. In the latest version of SAP, which is EHP 6, ECC 6.0 EHP 6, you have the option of EHP 5 onwards, all the versions, you have the option to save any purchase requisition as a template. Okay, and you can pull that template whenever you want. For example, in a company where I'm working as a purchasing officer, or maybe as a production supervisor or someone, or a maintenance supervisor, and a lot of time we need to place an order for this spare part or whatever the item is. It can be stationery, it can be anything. Okay, so to save the time next time, that means if I created a purchase requisition today, and probably I need to create it say every week. Okay, that means I need to enter all the data manually every time, which is a waste of time. Okay, so I can save this PO as a template. You can save a PREC, purchase requisition, as a template. Okay, that means next time whenever I need to create the same data or similar data, I can call up that template. So what I need to do is, if you want to save it as a template, it's very easy. Call that purchase requisition, click on this save as template. When you click on that, here you can give it a name. By default it is saying new template. I'll give it my name. Okay, you can give your name as initial. I'll say GS template. Okay, you can enter more description. You can enter say, okay, template for spare parts. Okay, whatever you want to call it. Also, you have the option to say, you can say you want to make it public. That means if I stick public, that means it will be available, it will be visible to all the users in my company. Okay, if I untick that, that means it will only be visible for me. Okay, so if I tick that and say okay, done. Saying template, GS template was saved, say okay. Now next time, say next week, I come back again and I want to create a new purchase requisition. I can click on new purchase requisition. Here it is, new one. And instead of entering all the data again and again, I can click on load from template. And here you will find the one I just created. Say this one, GS template. I can select that one and say okay. It's saying template data is copied and see, template is ready. So it will copy all the data exactly. So see how quick it is, and it will save my time. So you can save a template, which is occasionally, you can save a purchase requisition, which is occasionally used. So that's about the purchase requisition. Hope you understand how we can create a purchase requisition and why we create purchase requisition. Okay, so whatever we do here and whatever we're learning here, the most important thing is why. Okay, so most of the time I do explain why, where, what scenario it will be used. So why is very important. So now you understand why we're creating a purchase requisition. Now, second step after the purchase requisition, what happens is convert a purchase requisition to a purchase order. That means, as I said before, a purchase requisition can be created by a purchasing someone in the plant, say maintenance officer, production officer, quality supervisor, and it will come to a purchasing officer. So if I'm the purchasing officer, it will come to me. Okay. So, and if I need to convert a purchase requisition to a purchase order, that means here we are, we got a purchase requisition. Now what we need to do is to convert that purchase requisition to a purchase order. So let me show you how we can do it. So what we can do is, you can again go to the standard transaction for purchase order. How to create a purchase order we have seen before. Purchase order transaction is ME21N. So I can, or you can, if you, or I can go to /n ME21N, and here click on document overview on. So when you click here, then you can click on this little button here and select variant. Okay, so what you're searching for? I'm searching for I can say my purchase requisition. If I say there are two, one is called my purchase requisition, one is called purchase requisition. If I say my purchase requisition, that means only purchase requisition that is created by me, who is the user here at the moment. If I say purchase requisition, that means any purchase requisition created by anyone. Okay, so for now I will say my purchase requisition. So it's showing you 3 purchase requisitions that I created so far in the system. For example, if you say purchase requisition only, not the my purchase requisition, only purchase requisition. So it will show you a selection screen here that, okay, which purchase requisition is searching for. You need to give it a filter. There can be thousands of them. You can enter a vendor, you can enter account assignment group, you can enter a purchase requisition number, okay, or you can also say created by name of the requisitioner. I can say, okay, created by me, for example, or you can also search by material number. Okay, created by me, it will show you all the purchase requisition created by me. There are only 3, that's why it's showing you 3. So you can filter that by different objects like material, your vendor, created by, so many options are there. So for now I'll go back to my purchase requisition. So that's my purchase requisition that I want to convert to purchase order, right? So what you need to do is to select that purchase requisition and click on this copy button or adopt button. okay, and it will copy the data to a purchase order. Okay, just be careful that if you double click on this one, if I double click on this purchase requisition, what it will do, it will show you the purchase requisition on the right hand side. It's not showing you the creation of any purchase order. If you double click here, it will show you the purchase requisition here. You can see on the top what it's saying is display, saying that display purchase requisition. So it will happen when you double click on your purchase requisition number. So select that and click on adopt. It will not work because I need to go back and come back in again. I need to start this transaction again. So we'll click on document overview on. My purchase requisition. Select that and now click on adopt. Okay, it copied all the data on the other one, and you can see on the top here, see, create purchase order. What it's doing it now? It's creating a purchase order. It's not displaying the purchase requisition, it's creating a purchase order. Okay, so its data is copied to the order, and now what we can do is I can click on off here, and I can process this purchase order. Okay, there's some errors showing me. That what are the errors? So you can click on this error button saying enter a purchasing organization. So I can go to header. So some data is missing. Purchasing organization was not there. Enter the purchasing organization and enter a vendor. So I, as a purchasing officer, I can decide a vendor for that. Enter. And price is asking me price. Okay. So what happens is it will not copy the price from the previous item. I'll tell you why in a minute. Okay. So I will enter the price here and saying unknown, because for the second item we use the unknown as the account assignment group. So it's saying it doesn't like unknown, so we need to change it to K or something. So we can't get rid of we can't use that here. So I can say K, and again I can enter some data for the account assignment category, and it's ready. Okay, now if I save it, system has converted the requisition to an order. So order number at the bottom, you can see. If I click on the message at the bottom, I can note down the purchase order number. So purchase order created is that. Okay. So because what we did is we created first a purchase rec. Okay. And from the purchase rec we created a purchase order, which is that number. So what system will do is system will create a link between that. System will keep the history. If I call this purchase order, you can see what is a linked purchase requisition. If I call the purchase requisition, you can see what is a linked purchase order. Let me call the purchase order. If I go to ME22N to change a purchase order and click on this open other order, paste that order number, search. Here it is. Okay. So here, if I scroll down for item number 10, item number 20, I can scroll right. Here you can see the linked purchase requisition number. That was the purchase requisition number that we first created. So you can see the linkage between the two. Okay, that's a purchase requisition, that's the order we created. So you can see system will keep the link between both. I can copy that, and if I open the purchase requisition in going to ME52N, search button, paste that number, other. Okay, I can open item overview. Here you can go to status. If I go to status, you can see the status has been changed. It was earlier, it was not edited, and now it is saying B, PO created. PO created, and what PO number is created? Here is a PO number. Okay, same for the second item. If I open the second item from here, what is the status here? Same. PO created, and this is a PO number. So PO number for each item here it is same, but it can be different. Okay, so that's it. That is how you can convert your purchase requisition to a purchase order. Okay, so that's the first one. And also, as I said, we just converted the purchase requisition to a purchase order manually. So basically your purchase requisition will work as a template and supply all the data to the purchase order, most of the data. Okay, so this conversion we have done it manually, and it can be done automatically as well. Okay, and in between them we can create one more step called, I'll show you. So from the purchase requisition we have created a purchase order. In between them you can enter one more step, which is called assign source of supply. So what is source of supply? That means which vendor, from which vendor. Probably we procuring this material from maybe different vendors, different times. So from which vendor we're going to, who is the current vendor, you can say. Okay, who is the right vendor. So you can add one more step here, that from the purchase requisition is created, we can assign a source of supply, and then a purchase order is created. Okay, so when you say that assigning here, the same thing you can see here, you can assign a source of supply. Okay, this assigning of source of supply, which we'll cover in a different topic later on, this can be done manually or can be done automatically. Okay, both. Okay, then once you assign a source of supply to a purchase requisition, it knows that I need to buy from the ABC vendor, right? And then the purchase requisition will be converted to a purchase order. Okay, so this conversion we have done just manually, but it can also be done automatically. So system can automatically convert it to a purchase order as well. So that is also possible. Okay, and transaction code is ME59. So there is a transaction code ME59. When you talk about just for knowledge, automatic conversion of a PREC to PO, transaction code is ME59. So what happens is this transaction, if I go to ME59, this transaction run in the background. Okay, so that's another topic. So automatic creation of purchase order. So this transaction will be run in the background, and say once a day or maybe 2 times a day, and whatever is pending purchase requisition, it will automatically convert them to purchase order. Okay, so that's a conversion process for a purchase requisition. Okay, I think I already discussed this one, but let's see again. So if in your purchase requisition, if you're using U as account assignment category, U is unknown. Okay, when you have unknown, then you don't need to enter the account assignment category data and everything. What is the general ledger account cost center? Okay, when you say U. Okay, but when you convert the purchase requisition to purchase order, okay, you can't use U here, not at all. You need to change it to something else like K or something. So U is not accepted in the case of purchase order. Okay, you need to change it to K. That means when you select K, you need to assign the account assignment category data. Okay, so in simple words, U can be used here in the purchase requisition, but cannot be used in the purchase order when your purchase requisition is converted to a purchase order. So someone need to convert it to K and give it the right data. Okay, so that's the end of this part, purchase requisition only. So before you move further, I want you to do some practice first and have some deep knowledge about the purchase requisition process. So just do a quick practice on the server. So just create a, first of all, create a default setup for a purchase requisition. Okay, what I mean by default setup is, that means I'll show you here. So whenever you create a purchase requisition, right, header. Maybe this is more suitable for purchase order. See, there's a thing called personal setting. Here you can enter a default values, like what is my default account assignment category, my requisition. This is not, so you can have some sort of default options here. Like if you want to always use a K as a account assignment category, so this will be your default, but you can change it again. You can select K here if you want. Okay, delivery date, what's the default delivery date you want, and all that. And this is something useful in the case of purchase order. If you see the default option for purchase order, so that's a purchase order creation screen. If I go to this here, what happens is, I'll show you. Whenever I enter a vendor in the purchase order, see, it's asking me for enter the purchase organization, purchasing group, company code, and everything. I can make it a default setting. I can click on personal setting and go to default values. And here you can select, okay, what is my default purchase organization. So my default can be set 1000. If I'm using 1000 all the time, I can use it. Okay, and I can say, okay, purchasing group should be 000, like that. Company code should be this, and whatever you're happy with, save it. So next time what will happen, next time when I'll create a new purchase order, you can see it's automatically picking that value here. See, it's automatically picking those values. I don't need to enter it again and again. So always better to create a default value for yourself. Okay, so I want you to create a default value for not only purchase requisition, but also your purchase order. Then create a new purchase requisition using any vendor, but use a text item with account assignment center as K as a cost center. Okay, so use this one as for a text item. Okay, just enter any text item, can be any office supply, can be pen, pencil, whatever you like. And assign the general ledger account and cost center as discussed. So the account, general ledger account, I said before, was use of 400,000 in this system, and cost center as 40,000. Okay, and use that in the purchase requisition you created here. And also have a play with the multiple account assignment function. Okay, where you can assign the multiple account assignment. So save your purchase requisition, and finally convert your purchase requisition to a purchase order. Okay, once you have converted a purchase requisition to a order, then check the status. Check the status of your purchase requisition. Okay. Now here we'll, in the next topic, now we'll talk about purchase order acknowledgement. Okay. So what is purchase order acknowledgement? So acknowledgement means, like, here, this is my company, we have created a purchase order, and we can send the purchase order to a vendor called Miller. Okay. And Miller will then send us an order acknowledgement. So order acknowledgement, as the name is saying, that is nothing, it's just acknowledgement of that they have received the order. Okay, so for this one, whenever you create a purchase order, let me call it existing purchase order. So that's a purchase order that we created earlier. And here if I go to delivery, confirmation. If you go to the confirmation tab here, you can select a confirmation control, like what confirmation you want. There are different types of confirmation. For example, just pick the easy one, which is saying confirmation, which is the order acknowledgement. Okay, it can be a shipping notification, like whenever they ship the goods, we want them to notify us that okay, the goods are on the way to us. So for example, if you just want to say order acknowledgement, right, you can select order acknowledgement and check this one. Okay, so when you do this one for any purchase order, this will send a notification to the customer, okay, that we need one acknowledgement for this purchase order. Okay, so they will then send us a purchase order acknowledgement. For example, if we have used the delivery dates here, okay, we said okay, I'm placing an order here today and I want it say after 1 week, okay, and I want the vendor to send me a purchase acknowledgement. That means they will confirm me that if they in the acknowledgement that whether they can deliver it on after 1 week, or it may take 10 days, it may take 2 weeks or something like that. Okay, so that's also helpful in the case of acknowledgement. Second thing is in the case of acknowledgement, we receive my company, if my company send a purchase order to the vendor, we will get a confirmation that they really received it. For example, these days we're sending via fax and emails, which is more advanced system, but suppose like we're still sending someone by post, for example, okay, even by email or fax or post, maybe they're not received. So if they send us acknowledgement, that means they did receive the purchase order. So that's a confirmation that our purchase order reached at that vendor site. Okay, so that's the use of purchase order acknowledgement. Now we'll talk about pricing access sequence priority for a purchase order. So what that is, whenever we create a purchase order, system will look into the info record. Okay, so let me give me a second. So what will happen is whenever we create a purchase record, a purchase order, system will always look into the info record. Okay, so for example, I created a purchase requisition. Okay, created a purchase requisition, say 1 2 3 4 5 number is the number. Then, and here in this purchase requisition, I have say one item. Okay, so I'll say it has item 10, item number 1 or 10, which is say material ABC 1 2 3, for example, and the price is set $100. Okay, in the purchase requisition, whoever created the purchase requisition, they have manually entered the price here. Okay, but now when the purchase requisition will be, what will next will happen? It will be converted to a purchase order, right? What purchase order will do, it will copy the item, which is fine. It will copy that item to the purchase order, which is good, but it will not copy the price. It will not copy the price, this one. Okay, so the price will be, so where the system will look for the price? Here it is. So system will disregard this price and it will first look into PIR record, which we studied before in the previous topic, PIR record, which is a purchase information record. It will look into the price here. Okay, if it will find the price here, that's good. It will copy that price here. For example, here the price was say $120. It will copy that 120 price here. Okay, or if it can't find the price here, it will then look into the last created purchase order. Okay, if there's no price here, then only. Okay, if there's no price here, the PR is not maintained, then it will look into the last purchase order, and in the last purchase order when we created for this vendor and material, price was say $115. It will copy this price here. So that's the first priority, that's the second priority. Okay, so purchase order will never copy the price from here. It will always look into here or here. Okay, so this is what this slide is showing you, that that whenever you create a purchase order, so here whenever you create a purchase order, so system will first look into the info record, okay, PR record, price info record. If it finds the price here, that's good. If it can't find the price here, then it will look into the last purchase order. Okay, if you still can't find the price here, you need to manually enter. That's the third step. If it can't find the price in both of them, you need to manually enter. That's the third step. Okay, so third step will be enter price manually in PO. Okay, but still it will never copy this one. Okay, so if it will find here, it will copy and stop the search. Not if it can't find here, it will search here. If it can't find here, then the last step will be manually. Okay, this is one thing is exception here. Okay, this is the case of all the purchase item, only for, it is not valid only for when I talk about key item, okay, or text item where there is no purchase order record, material master record. Okay, so this is mostly used for material master record where there is a material master record. In that case, this is valid for all the items where there is no material master record, like in the case of consumable material where you enter a text item that is no record. So in that case, what you do, in that case this is fine. So system will copy that $100 here in that case only when it is a text item. Otherwise, if you have material master record, this will not be considered. Okay, so this is only considered in the case of text item or in the case of consumable products. Okay, that's the access sequence. Now we'll talk about valuated and non-valuated good receipt. Okay, so hope so far you understand the meaning of valuation. Okay, what is valuation? When I say valuated or valuation, that means, for example, in the case of good receipt, if in my company we receive the goods, right, then the valuation will happen. For example, say ABC material, ABC 123 is a material, right, and we have, say, price is $10 each. Okay, and in the stock we have, stock is 100 pieces, right? Now, what is the value? Okay, we need to maintain the value from the purchasing as well. So what is the value of your ABC product, ABC 123? Okay, so value will be 10 multiplied by 100. So value will be $1,000, right? Now suppose today we received another 50 pieces of ABC 123. Okay, we received from a vendor. Okay, that means what is the value now? So value will be, what is the stock? What is the new stock? New stock will be 150. And what is the value? Value is 150 multiplied by 10, that is $1,500 of the total stock we have for ABC, right? So that's the value or valuation. Now let's see the valuation for the valuated, non-valuated materials. So what that is, this is basically step here. First we create the requisition, then we create the order, and then good receipt. So we're talking about the good receipt process. Okay, on the good receipt process. So in the case of good receipt, what happens is, here you can see in the case of stock material, okay, in the case of stock material, you receive in the good receipt, you have the good receipt, you have the invoice receipt. Okay, in the case of stock material, you can see they are the valuated goods and the posting will happen here. okay, to the stock account, and all valuation will happen. That is fine. Okay. In the case of consumable material, you have both options. Either you can say I want to do the valuation at the time of good receipt, or I don't want to do the valuation at the time of good receipt. Okay, that means in the normal scenario, in the normal standard products like or stock material, whenever the new goods will be received, the valuation will happen. In the case of good receipt, okay, I'll call it GR, good receipt. Okay, valuation will happen. That is good. But in the case of consumable material, we have the option to either say valuation happen here or not happen here. We do have the option in the case of consumable material only. This is what this slide is saying, that you can say, okay, valuation should happen at the case of good receipt, or it should not happen in the case of good receipt. It should happen. If you say not happening in the case of good receipt, then it will happen in the case of invoice receipt. Okay. So let me show you how it is possible. So in the purchase order, see this one, good receipt non-valuated. If you take this one, that means in the case of, if I press F1 here, you can see the detail here that specifies that the good receipt of this item is not to be valuated. So this is saying that it should not be valuated when? In the case of good receipt. So in the type of good receipt, do not do the valuation for this material. Okay. So if you take this one in any purchase order, so if this will happen, what will happen? So here are two cases. If you say, if you don't take this one, this will happen, the middle one. Okay. So you will have good receipt account and everything will be updated whenever you receive some goods. But if you take that one, that okay, we don't want to do the valuation at the time of good receipt, this account will not be posted during the good receipt. So first you have the purchase order, then you have the good receipt, then you have the invoice. 3 steps. Okay. So in the second step, the valuation will not happen. Okay. Why? When you say take this one. Okay. For any reason you want to take this one, that okay, the valuation should be happening at the invoicing time. Okay. So if it's not happening here, it will be happening here at the end. Okay. Okay. So now we'll talk about blanket purchase order. What is blanket purchase order? Blanket purchase order is nothing. This is something like, for example, in my company, we need to procure, say, stationery. Okay, say every week or maybe every fortnight, every month. Okay, which is a waste of time. Like creating a purchase order, entering all the data, it will take 5-10 minutes to create a purchase order or purchase requisition, right? Okay, and if we do it regularly, or it's just something about to do with the pen, pencil, or something low value material like stationery. Okay, so in that case, to save some time, what we can do is, instead of creating a purchase order every week, every month, or whenever we're creating, we can create a common purchase order, like one purchase order with say 1 year validity, and that purchase order will, using that purchase order, the same purchase order, the good receipt, the invoice receipt will happen. Okay, this is called blanket purchase order. That means only one purchase order, and with the same purchase order, it has a validity, it has a limit in dollar value, and next time we don't need to create to buy the goods, we don't need to create a new purchase order. We can use the same purchase order. The only thing will be happening is invoice receipt. So I'll write down here, in the case of blanket purchase order. Okay, so what will happen is, first you will create a blanket purchase order, and second what will happen is, from this purchase order you can create invoice, maybe this month invoice 1, and thus using the same one you can create invoice 2 second month, and like that. Okay, so depending on the validity of your order, you can create as many invoices. So if for next month I need to buy some more goods, I can use the same purchase order, which is a blanket purchase order. Okay, so that's a purchase order, and in purchase order you can give it a validity. Okay, you can create a validity. So here you can see it has a validity and dollar value. So let me show you some practical examples here. So if you want to create a blanket purchase order, so the only difference will be here. The document type will be FO and item category will be B. That means go to the ME21N transaction and here select, by default document type is NB always. Okay, whenever you create, but in this case we need to change it to FO, framework order, which is a blanket purchase order. Okay, enter the vendor here and see it is it's popping up a new field called start date and date. Okay, I'll say okay, start date will be say today's date, and day can be, you can say okay, 1 year valid, 6 months valid, or a long time. Okay, so I can say okay, this is valid for 1 year, 2014 to 2015 October. Okay, and I can enter some material here. I can say I can enter some text material, say office supply. Okay, say quantity, say enter quantity 1000. Okay, and in the account assignment category, either you can, for example, you can say, you can give it an account assignment category, or you can say U, unknown. When you say unknown, that means the same order can be used for different cost center, and the cost center will be decided at the time of invoice. So if I give it account assignment right now, so that will be only the account cost center where I can make the purchase using this blanket purchase order. But if I say U, that is unknown, I don't give it any cost center data, that means it can, this order can be used for any cost center. Okay, so let me enter the plant here. Oh, sorry. Okay, we can't use that in the purchase order, but we can use that in the purchase requisition. Okay, so in the, because we're not creating a purchase requisition, so let's skip this and we'll use okay, it can be, give me a second. It can be, if I select, there's another thing called item category. I'll talk about the item category in a minute, but you can see here, usually we cannot use U in the purchase order. But if I select item category, this is called item category, which I explain in a minute. If I select the item category limit, and now if I press enter, okay, let me enter the material group here, it will accept the U. It will accept U in this case only. Okay, so now it's popping up a new field called overall limit. Like, what is the limit for 1 year? I say I'm already using the blanket purchase order for next 1 year, and I can give it a maximum and minimum limit, or maximum limit, not minimum, only maximum. Okay, so overall limit I can say okay, will be $2,000, and expected value can be say, just say $2,000. Okay, so you can see it's accepting U only in this case. However, in the normal purchase order, you cannot use U. It doesn't like U. Only when you see use B as the item category. Okay, which I will explain in a minute. So this is ready, and I can save it. That means I created a purchase order number this 4500017582 at the bottom. I can call it again. That's a purchase order with, that is a maximum. It has a dollar value. It has a dollar value and a limit and a expiry date, you can say. If I go to limit, here you can see the limit. The header, in the header, if you go to header, it has a end date and start date. Okay, so within this 1 year, I can use the same PO, and I can't cross this limit. Okay, and I can save it. Okay, and next step you can start again. Like, next step will be same. From this PO, what you will do, you from the blanket purchase order, it's ready. From here you can create a good receipt. or then from the good received you can create a invoice. Okay, so if I can copy this, if I go to MyGo and I can do a like we done before. So with this one, you can see at the bottom there is a message. When I'm trying to do the good received, it's saying no good received is possible at the bottom. If I click on the bottom message, so that means in the customizing, this is set up as, which we'll study later on, that good received is not possible for such order. Okay, so because they are just like pen and pencil, we don't worry about this step. We can ignore this step. We can straight away do the invoicing. Okay, so if you want to do the invoice, go to MyRow, M-I-R-O, which is a transaction for this one. Okay, MyRow, straight away invoicing. Oh, sorry, I think I went to the wrong transaction. MyRow. So that's a transaction. And here I can enter the purchase order number and press enter. Okay, it's asking for a date. I'll enter the today's date. So it's picking up, see, office supplies here. Okay, and we have some issue in this system because of some FICO or finance side of customizing not properly done. So what it is, so next step will be you need to give it a, because we used U over there, because we use assignment category U, so we need to give it a account assignment category here. Go to click on edit, make sure you select this one, account assignment cost center, click on edit. It's asking for a date, enter that, click on edit, and here you can enter the general ledger account like that, and you can say amount is I'm buying for $200. Okay, so $200 of value I'm buying now, check and click on back. Okay, so due to some reason you can see there's a red message, there's a red error message here. Okay, if I click on that message, you can see the balance not zero, 200 minus debit, the balance not zero, 200 minus debit, 200 minus and debit 200 and credit 00. Okay, so there's some accounting side of setting which is missing in the system, which I'm also not sure how to fix it. So this functionality only doesn't work. So what will happen theoretically, I will tell you, once you do the goods, the MyGo, the invoicing, and you can save it. If I try to save it, it will not do anything because of the error. Okay, it want me to fix the error in the customizing. So once you do the finish the invoicing, okay, then what will happen is in the purchase order you can see the history. Okay, after doing this one, once this in the real-time system, when this is done, and when you open a blanket purchase order, you can see the history, that how much of the quantity has been consumed. Okay, so for example, I will skip this step, and sorry about this. The order number 82. Okay, so once you do the once you have done the invoicing, you will see a data here. You will see a new tab here. At the moment it's not showing you any tab here, which is called PO history. Okay, but usually once the invoicing is done, then it will show you a new tab here which is called PO history, and in the history you can see how much of the quantity we have so far. So out of 2000, how much dollar value we have done the invoicing. So once that limit is done, so for example, from the same blanket purchase order, you create invoice number 1 for $200, next one can be $500, and so on. So once that the limit will be exhausted, when this limit will reach, MyGo cannot be done. Okay, so that means this will expire then. This blanket purchase order will be expiring because of the overall limit reached because of all the invoicing and everything. Okay, and all this data, as I said, will be available in the purchase order history here. Okay, so like we have seen the purchase order history as well earlier for the other documents. I call one. Not this one. Yeah, this one. So for this one, you can see purchase order history here because all the following process has been done. All the invoice is done, goods receipts is done. That's why you can see the PO history. If nothing is done for the follow process, it will not appear till then, this tab. So that's your blanket purchase order. Now I will be discussing about item category in the purchase order. So what is item category? So item category specifies whether a material number, an account assignment, a good receipt, and or an invoice receipt are possible or required for an item. Okay, that means we're saying that whenever you create an say okay, if you look at this, maybe not, this is not a good example. If I call another one. Okay, here you can see this old order we created earlier. Here in the item category, you can see this is blank. If I open all the options in the item category, you can see blank means standard. Okay, then we have other limit, consignment, subcontracting, third party. We have different item categories. Okay, so the function of different item category is nothing. Is basically it will control whether you can do a good receipt. Okay, it will control from here. Good receipt is possible or not. Okay, because last time we used item category called limit. Remember, we used the item category earlier when we was using this order. We use B here, and because of B, it didn't allow us to do the invoice receipt. So these type of things are controlled from the item category, whether you can do the good receipt, okay, or whether the invoice receipt is possible, or what is possible, what is not possible. So that is controlled by the item category. Okay, so we have different types of item category. For example, these are the control. Okay, whether the material, like you can enter the material number or the text item, whether you can maintain the stock, account assignment category is possible or not, good receipt is possible or not, invoice receipt is possible or not. So these are the things that is controlled by the item category. Okay, so which is done in the customizing, and we'll start the customizing chapter very soon. So that's all controlled by the item category. And when there is blank over there, that means that is a standard item category. Okay, and we have some other types of item category, like blank is standard, which is used most of the time. If you don't select anything, it will be blank, which is standard. Then we have things like limit. We just use limit, where you need to give it a limit. Okay, when you use a limit, it was asking you to enter the dollar value, what is the maximum expected value. Then you have consignment. When we use a consignment stock, which I talked about in the second topic earlier, second video, that we can have a consignment stock of the vendor. Okay, subcontracting, again, when you want to create a subcontract purchase order, okay, or a third party purchase order, or a stock transfer purchase order, okay, or a service. So depending on what you want to do, so we'll talk about the subcontracting and the third party order or services in the next coming topic, and then we will understand what type of purchase order are they. So they're just a bit different, but for it can be for subcontracting, it can be for consignment, it can be for service and all that. But when you select any of them, it will then control the behavior of a purchase order. That means what will be the next step. Okay, so next step can be no good receipt but straight away invoicing, or could be something else. Okay, so these are the things that can be controlled by your item category. Okay, so item category, you can have different item category when you use a request for quotation, when you use a purchase order, when you use a purchase requisition, also the outline agreement, which we'll study later on. Okay, so but basically these are the stuff that can be controlled by the item category. Okay, we'll talk about them again later on. So that is the end of this topic as well. So I want you to do some practical work. So first, just to do some practice, create a purchase requisition using the transaction ME51N for a text, use a text item, and also use a second item as a N-lag item, like a non-stock material. Okay, and use account assignment category K. So that means I want you to create a purchase requisition. First item should be a text item. Second item should be a consumable item like N-lag item or UNBW, material master record item. And also use the item account assignment category as K, cost center. Then convert your purchase, make sure there's no error in the purchase requisition, then convert your purchase requisition to a purchase order using ME21 and transaction. Now check the status of a purchase requisition. What is the status of the purchase requisition? Converted, edited, what? And also to practice, create a blanket purchase order, okay, using type FO and item category B, like I just did. Okay, and also provide the overall limit and expected value, whatever data is required or mandatory for a purchase order. Okay, so that's it. So if you just do this one, you will have a better and deeper understanding of the purchase requisition process and everything, and how the system behaves and all that. Okay, so that's the end of this topic, and thank you very much for watching this video. I'll catch you in the next video.